Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So there is you see, that's just so funny that as I started to say, there's no such thing as perfection. My tongue got tied up in my mouth. What a brilliant start. Isn't it funny how sometimes the universe just sends you these little gifts? Because I mean, I never know what I'm going to really say. I have a title. And this morning I kind of flung together the words that went with this broadcast because it all was a bit rushed this morning. I've just been really like faffy and not really. I've been nowhere near perfect this morning, folks, I have to tell you. And yeah, so to turn up and then gobble. And I've also just noticed that my collar is absolutely skew. So if you're watching this on video, I'm now just tidying up my collar. So I don't look like I've been dragged through a hedge backwards, but perhaps I have this morning. It does feel that way. Anyway, I'm here now, and there is no such thing as perfection. And I just thought I'd prove that to you live, that there is no such thing as perfection. I'm certainly not perfect, but I did try to be for a really long time. And it's interesting, just as I'm saying that, I realise that it's still there. My imperfection around chasing perfection is still there. You know, I look for it in myself. I still look for it in other people. You ask my fiance, he gets the brunt of my wanting people to be different and more perfect, perhaps. He gets my nitpicking over all sorts of silly little things. It's less than it was by a long, long chalk, and it isn't like it was before, that where it made me ill, because it was just like chasing. Well, it was like that, playing that game whack-a-mole, where you keep hitting the little moles. I don't think they play it quite that way anymore. I think the game has been changed, where you catch the moles on the end of your hammer. I think that was because they decided that teaching children to hit moles on the head was not really a very good idea. But back in the day, the game was called whack-a-mole, and you did hit moles on the head. But seeing that that's what it was like for me. So there was a lot of stuff that I did about myself to try and make myself more perfect. And I guess that went through kind of two phases. There's always been a lot of stuff around my physical body, in terms of body perfection, I suppose, but always elusive, that one, isn't it? So a lot of exercise and maybe pushing myself. I've just been through another little phase of that recently, actually. I'm actually 52 on Saturday, and I've been overdoing the exercise in the last few weeks, and actually on Friday left myself really not feeling very well, pretty sure because I'd overdone the exercise. So it's still there. It's still a thing for me to bring some awareness to, and I hope that's helpful in a way, because I don't ever want you to see me as being somehow perfect, because I'm not. I don't want people to ever think that anyone is a person to try and mimic or be like, because that, in terms of perhaps, excuse me, it feeling like that's perfection of some description, because it just doesn't exist. I mean, the title of this is There Is No Such Thing as Perfection. It just doesn't exist, and one of the reasons is, and this is possibly where my thing came in, I was very much, and I will admit to still being a bit that way, very much about me being right and other people not being right. Being wrong, basically. I don't know why I'm saying not being right, I mean wrong. I'm right, the way of behaving in the world is right, that I have is right, and other people are wrong. And that's a really helpful clue for us, isn't it? Because when we look at the world that way, we're right, everybody else is wrong. There's a pretty icky feeling that comes with that. It's not nice. It doesn't feel good. And what we're always looking towards in this conversation is what comes when we're in a nicer feeling. Like, I can really like, Bruce can do something. Bruce is my fiancé, if you haven't picked that up already. Bruce can do something, and some days I will notice there's a thought that he shouldn't be doing it that way, or why isn't he doing it differently, blah, blah, blah. And I will um, just ignore that thought and get on with my day, really, and not bother. And then other days, if I'm tired, I'm a bit grumpy, there's something else he did a few minutes ago that I didn't like, then I will feel the urge to say something. Um, but that's who says I'm right? I mean, that comes into, even if you're seeking perfection for yourself, there's an idea that you're right, isn't there? That this thing you're gonna be like, or this behavior that somebody else is gonna do, or whatever it is, that there's some sense that that is perfect, that that is what perfection looks like, that your idea of perfection is right. But then you've probably had situations where you've done something that you think is perfect. You think you've absolutely cracked it, and somebody else does not see it that way. And I've got a lovely example of this. So this time last year, maybe a bit earlier on in the year, my mum usually does tax returns for our family because she's a tax consultant. So she does mine, she does Bruce's, she does my son's. And just around Christmas, she seemed to be getting really quite stressed out about it, because we were all being a bit slack, quite frankly, and not getting our things in time. And so one Saturday morning, Bruce and I sat down. I went, "Well, I'll help you do your tax return. Let's sit down and do it together." So off we go. We sit down and we go through. He's not got massive stuff because he's employed, really. He occasionally does a bit of work for somebody. But yeah, so we did all of that, um, and thought we were good boys and girls, you know. And I messaged my mum to say we'd done it, and she was not happy. She was really quite cross with us because she felt slighted. She didn't say, she used the word disrespectful. I think we weren't respecting her because we'd cut her out of the process. Anyway, we thought we'd done the right thing. We thought we were being perfect, good little children, you see, in our 50s. And we weren't. And it's just so, like, it's so interesting to see those examples, and I know you've all got examples. I'd love to hear yours, actually. You've all got examples of this, haven't you, where you've really gone to town on trying to make something perfect, and it's backfired. The other person is not that impressed. My poor ex-husband, bless him, wasn't particularly good at, I guess, understanding what I might like in terms of gifts, and so he would buy gifts that were just really interesting, shall we say, and I wasn't very pleasant about it, and it's probably, we're not married anymore, so that's telling, isn't it? But, it was just, he thought he'd really done it this time, and he'd present me with something, and I would just go, "What?" Bless him, and knew was trying his best, but it just was not something that I would have appreciated at all, and you kind of wonder why he thought that, because anyway, we're all doing it all the time, aren't we? We're all in this seeking of perfection, in this trying to find something that is right. It's just because that's what it is, isn't it? Like the perfection thing and the right thing, I think, are really, really closely connected. And I've only really noticed that as I started to talk about this, because there is no such thing as perfect. Well, it's just our version of what's right, then, isn't it? And nobody's right. Like, I know there are some things in the world that we would, as a general population, see as not being okay, being wrong. But generally speaking, there is no right way of doing anything. I know the rules of the road say you're supposed to not sit in the middle lane, but for that person, it feels right. That's one of my things. If you've been watching these and listening to these for a while, you'll know that one of my things is middle lane hoggers. Yeah, imperfections in their driving, shall we say. It's all very amusing, this one this morning, isn't it? Because and actually, that's what I'd encourage you to look towards is, for me, often it's, "Oh, there I go again." Not thinking I'm bad for wanting things to be perfect or to be right in my view, but just going, "Oh, I've just got some ways of being." One of my ways of being is that there's a right way to do things, and many people don't do it right. You'd be amazed, actually, listeners and watchers, that many people don't live their life Claire's way. And guess what, folks? They don't live life your way either. And do you know what? Once we start to let go of this idea that everybody has to do it a certain way, it's got to be perfect for us, whatever it is, there's just a lot more space, and we can start to change things. We can ask for things to be different, but it comes from a completely different thing. If somebody isn't tidying up or doing what we might like in the house, for example, like, they're doing the best. There is no perfect. And from that place of seeing that they're doing their best and there is no perfect and you're not right, you can still say, "Would it be okay if you put your pots in the dishwasher?" You can still say that, but it's completely different to saying it from a place of that, you're fundamentally wrong, you're fundamentally imperfect. How very dare you leave pots out, not put them in the dishwasher. If you saw my dishwasher right now, people haven't put the pots in the dishwasher last night, that's for sure. There's only me and him, though, so it was us who didn't do it, which is cool. So I hope you found that, helpful. There is no such thing as perfection. So, maybe you can take that off your list of things to do today, trying to make things perfect. And if you would like to explore this further, even if you just want to put your toe in the water, please do grab my lovely free gift, which is called the 5 Simple Truths to Take You Close to Calm. It's on my website, which is very easily clairedownham.com. It's right on the front page. There's a big button where you can get hold of it. And start just looking in this direction. It's so transformational, and I wish for everybody to know and see what I've seen, because it has changed my life beyond belief. So lots of love, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.